So you guys see that? That's what he's sitting on. Alright, man, I don't know why you have so many things in here, like, just everywhere. Just, you can't even get in the car. Well, you can, but it's annoying. So this guy does live in Washington. I just got off the phone with him. This is the one where the car is tuned by somebody else. And I believe, obviously I'm not too sure, but I believe their main focus is the VRs. So this one had a lot of issues. So let me just explain it to you guys. So the main issue was the ECU. We put another ECU that we have, and now the parameters, the data that it gives us back is reading correctly. So his original ECU, I can only make assumptions. This, of course, is, I don't know what happened. I was not the first one that tuned it. He got it email tuned by somebody else. It's on 1050cc injectors. It's on 91 fuel. Has long tube headers and exhaust, and standard size cold air intakes. So the car had trouble starting, rough start. So what I first did was we kept the original ECU in there, and I uploaded just the tune I made on top, off the top of my head, and the car actually started normal every single time. With the previous tune, it didn't. So that we can say that was the tune. Then after that, I noticed that some of the values that I can see through the log were not normal compared to how the motor sounded. So I knew that it didn't match. For example, if it says that it's running 60 air fuel, so 60, that the car won't even run at all. It won't run at 40, it won't run at 30. So if I see 60 air fuel but the car is on, that's impossible. So just to give you an example, something like that. Or if it said the ignition timing is at 100 degrees, but I can rev it and it sounds completely normal, then again, that means I'm receiving false data. So the first thing we did was we just, after I put my tune file and it actually started every time, was get another ECU, put my same tune on there that I put on his original ECU, and start it. It started normal again, and now I was receiving the actual correct data of how the car is actually reacting. Of course, this is based off of experience, so I know what it's supposed to look like, and then I still saw some things were off. So I tried to fix it through the tune, and again, from experience, I saw, no, this is too much. The changes are too much that I'm making. So I knew something else was wrong, so I gave my feedback to George, and then from there, George looked at it, and he was able to also change the O2 sensors and the throttle bodies. So first we did the O2 sensors. We want to see what would happen. I was receiving correct data now through the log, through the ECU. And after that, I told George, hey, the idle's not steady. So at that point, the car is tunable, but that's not how I would want my car. But of course, it depends on the customer if he has the money or not. Well, obviously he did, because he told us to go ahead, and he told us he's gonna go ahead and pay for it, because we told him the car's ready, it just needs a tune. But anyways, so change the ECU, change the O2 sensors, everything's way better. The idle is very, very jumpy. It's too jumpy. It's not where like it barely moves, you know. It was jumping about 300 to 400 RPM, but very, very slowly. Really, really annoying. And I know that that's not even normal. Maybe if it was jumping about 100, 125 RPM, you know, maybe we would have told them like, hey, it's up to you. But at this point, it was too much. Again, the car could get tuned like that, but it'd probably be really annoying for him, especially since he tried to get it all fixed. So we put different throttle bodies on there, and we did not even do the throttle relearn, and it idled way, way better on its own, basically 99% better. We ended up doing the throttle body relearn anyways, and it idles normal. It starts normal now. The ECU is giving us the correct information back, and the idle is normal. The other thing I want to talk about is, so how did his other ECU mess up? So obviously I don't know the history of this car. This car came from Washington, so the owner is going to take it back to Washington once the tune is complete. So the only thing I can assume, and I already let the owner know, is, well, when I think about it, is, well, how did the car run before the tune? So he didn't really tell me, so I'm not too sure. Again, I was not the first one to tune it. So assuming that he didn't have these issues before, so there's only two things. Either these issues already existed and he just didn't know, he thought it was normal, so that's before he got it tuned by someone else, or he didn't have these issues and it happened after the tune. So how can the ECU mess up? Well, I'm gonna assume it was just an accident. It wasn't the previous tuner's fault. Could be a glitch or something. Something happened. Maybe something happened during the flash process when the customer, the owner of this car, was flashing the ECU. Maybe he accidentally kicked the cable or something and he restarted the process. Maybe there's a glitch in the software when he flashed it from his tuner, because again, it was an email tune. So what I'm getting at is there's no way for the tuner to purposely mess up the ECU like that. This has to be an accident. So of course it is an email tune. I believe they actually do diagnostics over email, which is honestly not something I would recommend somebody do. I definitely do not do diagnostics over email or messages. All diagnostics is done only in-house in here. So anyways, I feel like it was just an accident. After that, if you guys remember, I said once I put my tune on his original ECU, replacing the other tuner's tune. So meaning, yes, when it came down to the tuning, the startup and the idle had to do with their tuning. So of course the idle was still a little messed up even with my tune, but once we changed the throttle bodies, everything was way better. With my tune, it idled better, but I noticed there was still a problem. So it seems like this car is ready to get a tune. The owner of this car agreed to everything for all the parts changed. Obviously, if they're changing, he has to pay regardless. The ECU is obviously optional. I told him if he still wanted to get a tune by me, he said yes right away. I don't know if you watch my videos. I think you do. I think I seen you comment on my YouTube before, maybe very rarely. But yeah, so I'm gonna go ahead and get this tuned on 91. And after that, he also said he wanted an E85 map, so he already has the injectors on there, so might as well. And then that's pretty much it for this one. I'll see if I could record some clips when I'm tuning it for 91 and E85 if I have time, but that's it for this one. What's up, guys? I have this 06 G35 Coupe automatic. It is currently tuned by someone else in the Long Beach area. It has a standard size cold air intake, it has a plenum spacer, it has high flow cats, and it has exhaust system. It is like an OEM style muffler, but aftermarket. So this the owner of the car messaged me. He wanted a retune with me. As far as he knows, has no problems. He's just not satisfied with, I guess, the performance. So here we are. And sorry, I was picking my nose. 236.9 wheel horsepower is what it's making on their tune, and 229 torque. It's actually running pretty decent. Off of the few pulls I've done on the baseline to get the best baseline, I don't really see any issues, but I do see room for improvement for more horsepower. The tune is complete. Was able to get more power out of it. With the other person's tune was 236. After my tune, it was 251 wheel horsepower. There is the torque right there, while staying safe and being able to get more power out of it. And that's it for this one. What's up, guys? That's from yesterday. Should have threw it away. So right now I have this tuner, master tuner from up north. He's asking me for help on how to get Ecutek to work on the 08 G37 5-speed. He did unlock his tune for his customer, and he sent it to me. And he did try some things, but it's the things I had tried before and they didn't work. So he sent me, like, I guess his final try, his final tune file, and then I asked him, you know, which ones did you change, which tables did you change. So the tables are the, you could say, like the parameter, not the parameters, the tables are, you know, like the timing, fuel, what did he change, what's available for you to change as a tuner. So I asked him which tables did he change. He told me, and I was like, okay, well, it's actually none of those. So I'm gonna go ahead and help him out on it so he can get his customer tuned, because I believe his customer is in a totally different country. I believe somewhere in the east, maybe, I don't know, Middle East or something. I'm not too sure, but he's not in the US. So I'm gonna help him out on that, and it should work out for his customer. Get to this one to start tuning it, because I have some time right now. This guy wants a 91 tune because it's a 91 right now, and he's gonna go E85. So I'm not sure if I said it in the other clips, because today's another day. He actually does not have E85 where he's from, but he's gonna stay here for a while. I don't know what a while is, maybe roughly 8 months or something. I'm not too sure. I don't remember what he said. So he wants to be on E85 down here, and when he goes back home to, let me see, his plates say Washington, to Washington, he'll be on 91 before he leaves. What's up, guys? I have this 2004 350Z 6-speed, very nice, being a 6-speed. Has a cold air intake, has a, I believe, a 1/2 inch plasma spacer, and it has full exhaust, single exit exhaust. It is on stock injector, so it's on 91 octane. And this car, as soon as I drove it in, it has a misfire. It's a very big misfire. I told them that's not how you're supposed to bring the car for the tune, so the car is not ready for a tune. You know, I let them know that a tune does not fix a misfire. The car has no tune. So obviously there's no other tuner that went in there, and so there's no tune in there, so it has nothing to do with tuning. There's no tune in there yet. So I went ahead and scanned for codes, and of course it says it's misfiring. So he's actually been trying to fix it, I believe, for a year. He's changed a lot of things, and from what he told me, there's some pretty good things that he tried to change, and he took it to a couple shops. He's never brought it here, and he says that they can't find the issue. So judging by the things he's changed, you know, supposedly, I just have to go off of what he said. This is more of an advanced issue. So if he were to bring the car here, it would be, George would be the one to actually go straight into looking for it and the issue, and he'd probably have me going in it as well to help him out on it. Well, so the car is already here, so it doesn't, on idle it's really bad. On cruising and full throttle, it doesn't seem like it does it as much, so we might be able to get it tuned at least. I mean, he already knows, he wanted me just to tune it anyway, so okay, you know, you're telling me to do it and I don't recommend it. So I try to do a baseline, and I went as high as 5300, but this one has nothing to do with the misfire. Of course, you guys know the red line on the DE 2004 is 6600. It's not 6500, it's 6600. But I let off at 5300 because it's running extremely lean, very lean, actually very dangerous. So I told them, you know, it's not just a little bit lean, but it's a lot. It's very dangerous. So I had made one adjustment, but it's not on the screen. It had gained about 10 wheel horsepower. Then the orange line is the second adjustment. So the red is the baseline. There was a green that I just removed because I didn't finish the pull, but it did gain 10 horsepower. And then now I did another pull, which is the orange line. We gained 16. Yeah, well, let's just use that right there. You can see where it's fixed right there. And we can keep going. All right, it's gaining power. It's now at 240 and 233 wheel torque. New line is the purple line. Tune's almost done. Not exactly the final numbers where it should be at, but of course it has the car has an issue somewhere. But it's definitely going to feel a big difference because it's running way better. small gains up top. Alright guys, so final number 242. Baseline was 221, unfinished pool, which is the red line, the red dyno graph line right there. After the tune is 242 wheel horsepower, which is the gray line. It's definitely going to feel a very, very big difference. There you go. So the car still has the misfire issue, but the car gained a lot of power. Definitely going to feel a very big difference. So maybe he'll bring the car here for diagnostics so we can figure out the issue on the car. He said he checked a lot of things already, so hopefully he gets that fixed, and hopefully the motor is still in good condition. It's very possible that the issue he's having could literally be causing him another 10 wheel horsepower. Starts on its own before, like it just would start really horrible. It would start revving from idle to 3500 on its own very violently. Then it would, once I found the work around that, it would rev from idle to 5800 rpm on its own, and then from like 4000 to 5800 on its own. Spent about an hour and a half just trying to trick the system, and and then he's doing his lights, his canyon lights in the front. But yeah, it works now. No more limp mode. There's a lot of stuff I did on here, like a lot of stuff in order to get this to work, but I'm gonna go back and try and see which ones actually work. So right now, what I just changed right now helped tremendously, and it goes all the way to red line. So I'll show you. You see engine speed is the one that's highlighted. So it's on stock red line, which is 7500. See, before it wouldn't be able to do that. At first, again, 3500 was the limit, then 5800, and now it goes to red line.
Oh, you just made history. I don't want to burn myself.
You burn yourself. I have here a 2003 G35 Coupe 6-speed. It is tuned by somebody else, but this has absolutely nothing to do with the other person's tune. It's here for diagnostics. I believe it keeps misfiring, and I think it doesn't start, something like that. So the guys went ahead and diagnosed it. They changed, I believe, the coil packs, the spark plugs. I believe it needed new spark plugs, I'm not too sure, and the ECU. So now I have to program the key on this one here. Then he's gonna have to get in contact with his tuner to put the tune back on this ECU. Turn around. I'll show you what you look like right now. Alright guys, so this car from Washington looks like it's fixed. I'm gonna have one of the guys put the ECU back into the stock location. That's the newer well, it's the replacement ECU, because his original was no good. And for testing purposes, I had the NATs deleted on there. But since he's keeping this ECU, I need to enable NATs back on, which I am doing right now. And then after that, I need to program the key for him, which I'm not going to charge him extra for that. I know he's going to spend a lot of money on this. So, well, most of the money I think is going to George anyways, but I'm just going to program this key for him for free. And then that's it for this one here. I have this 2014 370Z automatic. It is tuned by somebody here in Cali. Supposedly they do a lot of EQs, but I'm not too sure they actually do. They do also different platforms. They do have a shop here. And according to the owner of this car, from what George was telling me when he took it in, was that the car is in limp mode, that it has 3-inch intakes, stock injectors, and exhaust, tuned on 91, and that they tried his original tuner, so the car's already tuned, they tried to fix it multiple times and something is wrong. So I don't know the whole story. If I was here, I would have asked the owner of the car. So I haven't called them. I just came here to just scan for codes really quick before I give them a call. I wanted to know how the car ran, but I'm assuming the car ran before until it got tuned, which is what I think they did tell me. The car ran before the tune. On here, it tells me the last time it was flash, which was October of 2022. So I don't know if this guy just has not been driving his car since October of last year. So what I'm gonna do is, they actually haven't really checked anything yet. George is automatically assuming it has to do with their tune because he's heard some stuff about them, about the shop. So I mean, and that's how it is. That's how we're gonna start it off. So George over there. I'm gonna just put a tune in here, one of mine, and see how it runs. But actually, let me start it for you guys. So here, it sounds like it's cam, and eventually the car does shut off on its own. So at the moment, I don't see any limp mode issues, but Jesse was in here earlier. He said it wouldn't rev, like it wasn't in limp mode, but I don't have any codes in here that show, so I'm gonna just put one of my tunes on here. All right, guys, so it was the tune. So I didn't, let me see, Fresh Kicks mentioned unit video. I guess he just posted his YouTube video. Yeah, so it starts completely fine, which it did start fine on their tune, but you saw I wanted to shut off, sound like it was cam. With just a quick tune I made, it just, everything is 100% completely normal. So I'm gonna go ahead and put it on the dyno, because on the invoice I saw that said he wanted it tuned. And yeah, so I couldn't get in contact with him, but I verified with the person that took him in. They said that they did want me to tune it once they figured out the problem here, but it was actually just only the tune. So luckily for him, I do have some extra time today. I think the car came in 4 days ago, so as you can see, it took 4 days for someone to get to look at it. And so here we are on the tune. So luckily I had already finished everything else for the day. So the owner of this car contacted me. I was able to talk to him, and he said that he is from Vista, California, and that's where he went to get the car tuned, and he requested that I drive the car for at least 30 minutes. It's been 30 minutes, and I have not had any issues with the car. It does not go into limp mode. So I told them maybe it still could go into limp mode because those traction lights again have nothing to do with tuning, but all the other issues he was having did have with to do with the tuner that he went. Well, obviously, you know, they're over there, they're closer to him, so it makes sense to go to a local tuner. But now he's tuned by me. He did let me know that the VQs is not really their focus, but that they do tune them, so that could possibly be the issue. It's the same software, it's Ecutek, but they do support different vehicles. Just because it's the same software does not mean it's the same way to tune the car. Every manufacturer computer is completely different. For example, let's just say for Nissan, maybe there's 2 ways for the VQs. There's 2 ways to adjust fueling, for example, not to be precise. But on, let's just say, for a BMW or a BRZ, there could be 3 to 4 ways to do the fuel adjustments, or even the timing, the ignition timing. So every car is different. You have to know what may trigger certain limp modes or not if you adjust certain things. I just sent him a couple of videos of me doing a pull in his car and cruising. I kept updating him, and I have absolutely no issues here. So he's very, very happy. He said he hasn't driven the car in 9 months.